anywhere. It's up to you, New York, New York.
How we doing, guys? Welcome back to another episode of the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast here on Facebook Live and YouTube. Oh boy, do I have a lot to say. Today's episode is called Mile High Meltdown as the New York Football Giants blew a 19-point lead going into the fourth quarter. Colts batter bolts. Daniel Jones keeps winning. Cowboys in command. Eagles defeat an old friend. We're starting this up in Mile High Stadium or whatever they call that place now, the place with the bad altitude. Yeah, Rich, we're going to start there. Richard Dorney, a.k.a. Brian Dable's twin. I think Dorney's a little more handsome if you ask me. But Tiki Barber said it best on WFAN, and I'm basically going to repeat what Tiki said and give you a little bit of my own spin. When the Giants were up two possessions, 10-point lead, little over 5 minutes left, first and second down, they did it right. They run the ball with Cam Scatterbo. Why do you take the ball out of the running back's hands, and why do you not force your opponent to take a final timeout? Because if you don't convert a first down via the ground, you punt the ball, you flip the field position, you have a 10-point lead. And even if the Broncos go down the field and score, the time is in your favor, where the Giants could basically milk out the majority of the clock. We saw the Philadelphia Eagles master the clock yesterday to make sure the Minnesota Vikings had no time. These are the small things that win and lose football games, and it just doesn't start there, guys. It doesn't start there. Shane Bowen, his defensive schemes, I'm over. Soft coverage costing us yet another game. You saw a visibly upset Brian Burns, who played a hell of a game. He leads the NFL in sacks with 9. He's had 4 over the last 2 weeks. He was pissed. You're only rushing 3 when you are trying to hold on for dear life. I do not understand the schematics of that, especially when you lost Holland and Adebo for the game. So your secondary is not at its best strength. Your pass rush has been working all day, and you're only rushing 3. We don't have a kicker. I don't know how Jude beat out Younghoe Koo. I have no idea. But if that dude is kicking for my team next week, I'm not even putting on the tube. That was horrible. Horrible. And it's a frustrating game. You know, the Denver Broncos are a team that I predicted to make the AFC title game. They currently are neck and neck with the Kansas City Chiefs in that West Division. You know, they hold a small lead over the Chiefs right now. They have yet to go head to head. Both of Denver's losses have been by last second field goals. This is a team that could be undefeated. So what happened on that third down play that I was bitching about? Jackson Dart, who I admire, who had a hell of a game prior to that point, does not see the linebacker. He also had no power on that throw because he got hit from behind, and a dying quail gets intercepted right in front of the Giants' doorstep. And Denver immediately turns that into a touchdown. And These are the kind of things that drive people mad. And, at some point, it comes down to the coaching. Brian Dable does not necessarily know how to win and put games away. But one thing that he certainly has proven over time is that he knows how to lose. It's just a deflating feeling when you lead a game for 59 minutes and 59 seconds. They basically led the whole game with the exception of the final play of the game. And this is a team that should be at minimum 3-4 now, feeling good about themselves on a 2-game winning streak, going to Philly, looking to sweep their forever rivals. Instead, you're 2-5, and you come away empty in one of the toughest places to win a football game. There are positives. No Malik Neighbors. Jackson Dart's been getting it done with the tight ends. Daniel Bellinger and Theo Johnson both caught touchdown passes. Theo's was quite dramatic on a pass intended for Wan'Dale Robinson, which Theo just kind of caught on a crossing route. Caught it on a deflection. There were multiple deflections in this game. And, I got to praise Bo Nix. He had a tough day, but in crunch time, he performed. But to give up 33 points in the fourth quarter, to get outscored 33-13 in the fourth quarter, this is what Denver does. Denver has the best plus-minus ratio in the fourth quarter of outscoring people. They have only given up, 13? They've only their defense is phenomenal in the fourth quarter. Let's just say that. And their plus-minus ratios have been sensational all year. Next on deck for the Cowboys are the Broncos. Giants will be heading to Philly. But this goes bigger than just losing a game. It becomes almost like an expectation at some point. And I'll be honest, guys, I'm watching this football game. We're up 19 points. And at no point during that game, and I watched the game alone, did I feel completely confident. Because I've seen this movie too many times. But to Tiki's point, to not run out the clock there and to force Denver to use their final timeout is just absurdity in my mind. It's absurdity. Poor clock management down the stretch as well. Giants took a delay of game on the final gifted touchdown because that pass interference was quite questionable. Are you saving your timeout for a better time than to not be penalized on your final drive? That's on the coach, guys. That's on the coach. That's on the coach. I'm not going to blame the quarterback who probably can't even hear in that kind of a loud setting. I'm blaming that on the coach. The coach has been coaching this team since 2022. Jackson Dart's in his fourth start. I'm going to blame the coach on that. Between that and Shane Bowen's questionable defensive schemes, it's depressing. This is the second time this year the Giants have lost a game they should have won. Same thing happened in Dallas, but this game is worse. This game is worse than losing to Dallas. Because at least in Dallas, you could kind of forgive it a little because Brandon Aubrey could kick the football from almost 70 yards if he's feeling it. But what happened yesterday was just so avoidable. Should have never happened. And all you could hope with a young team is that they can recover and forget about it quickly. But a squandered opportunity for sure. Dallas Cowboys all over the Washington Commanders yesterday as CeeDee Lamb and Kevontae Turpin both returned. Jaden Daniels, hamstring yet again. He's supposed to be going an MRI today. Cowboys won big time, 44-22. We're going to find out if Jaden Daniels is going to be healthy for the foreseeable future. I actually made a trade in fantasy, giving up draft capital to acquire Lamb and Daniels. My fantasy team did amazing yesterday. But definitely, if you're a Commander fan, you got to be concerned because you're going into a tougher stretch of your schedule and you don't have last year's Rookie of the Year at the helm. Marcus Mariota will be filling in for Jaden Daniels depending on the severity of the injury, but I have a hard time believing that Jaden will be available next week for the Chiefs. You got the Cowboys right now feeling pretty good, playing offense. Dak Prescott putting up MVP numbers, guys. He really is. And the Dallas Cowboys most definitely have a shot at winning this division. Most definitely have a shot. It's been a strange season for the Cowboys. Lots of ups and downs, lots of shootouts, things of that nature. But yesterday, just seeing them play a better game on defense has to be encouraging for the Cowboy fan base. And right now, um, it's anyone's division. And I think that's a big reason why the way the Giants lost is so upsetting to certain people, because the Giants could have very well put themselves in this conversation. And coming into this year, I had very realistic expectations. You know, I knew that we have a rookie quarterback. I know that Russell Wilson started the year and has not had a lot of success lately. I know Jameis Winston was also a potential backup plan, but the team's very young. But I think the frustration is that when they are already here on some metrics and playing with elite teams, but finding ways to lose due to coaching, poor clock management, terrible special teams, it's horrific. And another bone I want to pick with Dable. You're up 19-0, but you decide that you have to go for two there to go up 21-0. We get it. Your kicker missed one already. But why would you not kick there when you're comfortably up by 3 scores, but with a must-have extra point? That's where you kick, where the guy's been shaky? I don't know, man. If my kicker don't have it, I want to find out earlier in the game, not with 30-something seconds left. I think the Jackson Dart Cam Scatterable combo is going to save Brian Dable's ass. I think Shane Bowen's going to be the fall guy here, similar to what happened with Wink a couple of years ago. But Brian Dable's got to be better, guys. Brian Dable has got to be better. Because his coaching and could be questioned. You look at a guy like Daniel Jones, Indianapolis Colts, big time win over the Los Angeles Chargers in SoFi. 2-score victory for the Colts. They are atop of the entire AFC right now, guys. There is a distinct possibility that the road could run through Indy. It's early. It's still very early in this season. But just a complete performance, top to bottom, between their defense playing at a good enough level, Jonathan Taylor, strong game running the football, and Daniel Jones really showing off the deep ball. This is the same Daniel Jones that got run out of New York. This is the same Daniel Jones that people said couldn't read a defense. It's amazing how different a player could look in a different environment. Let's call it like I see it. Better coaching, a good offensive line, and a decent running game. It's amazing. Oh, and the defense over there plays pretty good too. But the Indianapolis Colts, I'm becoming a believer. I really am becoming a believer in what they're doing. They never get out coached. Their turnovers are minimal. They play a very physical brand of football. And Daniel Jones has been very cerebral this year. He has not forced a lot of stuff. His turnovers have been under control. And he's trusting his God given abilities. Do I think that Daniel Jones was ever going to find that success on the Giants? No, I don't. Am I happy that we drafted Jackson Dart and he's the future quarterback? I am. But I think seeing the way that Daniel Jones is blossoming in Indianapolis is a true indicator of the deficiencies in the coaching staff around him in his previous stop. Because as John Mara said in the past, they never gave him a fair chance. Shane Steichen has unlocked Daniel Jones. Daniel Jones should be a Pro Bowler this year. He has a legitimate shot to win Comeback Player of the Year as well. And when you consider that some of the usual guys that are in the MVP conversation, two of them have missed considerable time in Lamar Jackson and Joe Burrow. Josh Allen not having his best statistical year yet. Could Daniel Jones actually win the MVP? I don't think so, but I mean, it's not out of the question. It's really not out of the question. I think Patrick Mahomes is starting to heat up in that conversation as of late as well, too. As Kansas City Chiefs do something that's very difficult to do in today's NFL. They pitched a shutout, shutting out the Las Vegas Raiders, 31 nothing. Just a fun day for the Chiefs in every sense of the football game. Special teams, defense, offense, everything was clicking for the Chiefs. And after the slow start, the Chiefs are on the Broncos' heels. The Chiefs should be tied with the Broncos today, were it not for that implosion by the Giants. The Chiefs should be tied with the Broncos today. And after seeing what the Chargers did to the Chiefs early in the season in Brazil, but seeing how things have kind of imploded for the Chargers after losing the Giants game, losing the Commanders game, barely beating the Dolphins. The Chargers have now lost 3 of their last 4 games, and they are holding on to a thread right now and just a shade over 500. Um, gotta praise the team that I hate more than anyone yesterday. Philadelphia Eagles really shutting up a lot of the naysayers yesterday that say that Jalen Hurts can't throw, that they don't have the ability to get it down the field. And I have to give credit where it's due because Brian Flores, who I consider one of the best defensive coordinators in today's NFL, he was outcoached yesterday. He was outcoached yesterday. It doesn't help that Carson Wentz, the former Eagle, threw 2 picks, but it was a mixed bag because Wentz had some good moments in that game. Going into the week, some people thought that J.J. McCarthy was going to start. I was one of them. Um, and I thought that Wentz gave the Vikings the best chance to beat his former club. It was a really good game. But once again, as I talk about the small intricacies that win and lose football games, the Eagles' clock management at the end of that game was nothing short of masterful. They made sure that they left the Minnesota Vikings absolutely no time. And it's just so very ironic that just a few hours later, you see the opposite of what that looks like. Devontae Smith and A.J. Brown really cooking. And it's Jalen Hurts' first 300-yard game since week 3 of 2024. So going into the rematch of the Turnpike rivalry, the Eagles have got to be feeling good. They stay in first place as of right now, improved to 5-2, and they'll be welcoming the 2-5 Giants next week. Saquon Barkley has still not topped 100 yards. I think that is probably the most shocking stat of this young NFL season. This is a guy that went for 2K last year, and the only stat that matters is winning. And the Eagles are doing enough of that. They've won 5 of their first 7 games. And a narrative and a lot can change in a week. Because a week ago, myself included, a lot of us were seeing too many similarities to this 23 Eagles team. And I'm not saying that everything's fixed in Philly, not by any means. But it's good to still win these games when things are not going the best for a team. And I continue to push it towards coaching. Like him or not, Nick Sirianni knows how to win games. Brian Dable doesn't. I'm sorry, it's the truth. Do I want Dable fired? I don't know. But there's been enough of a sample size where you have to question, is this the right guy to lead this young team? I'm going to keep referencing it as I talk about things going on around the league. Mike Vrabel's Patriots overcome a slow start and put up over 30 against the Tennessee Titans in a very convincing win on the road, and now have sole possession of first place in the AFC East by virtue of the Buffalo bye and by virtue of the tie-breaking victory that they had over them in Western New York a couple of weeks back. New England Patriots are really, really playing well, and Drake May is showing that he is becoming one of the best new stars at the quarterback position in this league. Boutte had 2 TDs yesterday. That's Brett's boy. I know Brett's got to be happy. It's been a minute, especially when you're used to being in Super Bowls, playing in Super Bowls, playing in conference title games, constantly winning the division. This is the first time in the Josh Allen era, truly, where the New England Patriots are on equal footing with the Buffalo Bills. You know, Brady's last year in the league, or at least in New England, I should say, the Patriots were clearly already on a bit of a downturn. But definitely a fun time to be a Patriot fan as Mike Vrabel is bringing back that winning culture. This is a team that's playing stout defense. This is a team that had the courage to get rid of some big names over the last couple of years, bad contracts, and to trust their program and to start drafting well again. You have two dogs in the running back room. Drake May out of UNC is exactly who the Patriots thought he would be. They're implementing just winning culture again in Gillette. And this is a team that's going to be around not just this year, but going to be around for a while. You know, the Buffalo Bills have the experience, but I think you could make a logical argument right now that the New England Patriots have a better defense. You know, and bringing in a guy like a Stephon Diggs and seeing what he did a couple of weeks ago in Buffalo, it helps when you bring in that veteran presence, especially if that veteran presence is locked in. And, you know, I'm sure for Diggs coming off that injury and kind of kicking around a little after Buffalo, this is a great opportunity for him to not only come back to that division, but to play some meaningful football going into the winter. Green Bay Packers, similarly to what the Denver Broncos did yesterday, sleepwalked through a good chunk of yesterday's game in Arizona, but did come away with the W as Jonathan Gannon's team just is always on the wrong side of these close scores, and it's got to be frustrating. It's truly got to be frustrating for Jonathan Gannon. But the Packers remain in first place in the North for now. Detroit Lions got a bowl game tonight with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Will Mike Evans play? I hope so. I want to see a good football game tonight. Um, but even if he does play, Egbuka probably not going to play. Godwin's already been ruled out. There's no Bucky Irving. It's going to be a tall order in the Motor City for Baker Mayfield to rally his guys and get the W today. And I think Baker Mayfield's playing at an MVP level as Tampa is comfortably in first place in the NFC South. Win or lose, that will remain the same. But I do like the Lions to get the victory tonight. I think Tampa definitely shows up. But give me the Lions 34. Give me the Tampa Bay Buccaneers 24. 34-24. 10-point victory for the Lions. Seattle and Houston is interesting tonight because it could be a defensive struggle or it could be a game that opens up. But truthfully, I think if Seattle could get up multiple scores early, they have the potential to blow out Houston. The Texans are not the same team that they were the last few years. I like Seattle to win and win convincingly. Give me the Seattle Seahawks 30. Give me the Houston Texans 17. I like what Seattle's doing right now. I like what Sam Darnold's doing. Um, the Seahawks are back, and they have a really good chance to win the West. San Francisco 49ers yesterday getting the dub. Our resident 49er fan, Ryan Shedd, as well as myself, actually picked the Falcons to win this game. So kudos to Mac Jones for holding it down in Brock Purdy's absence. Chicago Bears getting a dub yesterday. Convincing win against the New Orleans Saints. They induced 2 turnovers. Spencer Rattler had a rough day. The Bears defense is low-key getting good. And the Bears have won 4 in a row since 0-2 start. So they're coming around. The Chicago Bears are starting to feel good about themselves. This North Division is going to be interesting because there are no bad teams in that division. Fourth through first, everybody is playing football right now. Going into the year, I had picked the Packers to finish last in that division. That was, of course, before Micah Parsons was traded for. I'm looking for more from the Packers offense. I think I'm still not quite sure who they are on offense. Um, but that will all be revealed as it really is a week to week league because a week ago, the Giants were the only team in the East to win a game. A week later, they blow a massive lead. And this Broncos team is masterful at that. And that's part of being a championship team is never giving up. This is a team that also in Philadelphia's backyard came back from a multiple score deficit. But a 19-0 lead, ooh, that is painful. And it also bloomed to a 26-8 lead on the Theo Johnson deflection catch. So definitely painful to say the least for Giant fans. I'm not necessarily feeling it in terms of the fact that we lost a game we should have won. My biggest thing coming into this year is that I wanted to know that my team had the right talent moving forward. And when I look at these rookies, Cam Scatterbo, as well as Jackson Dart, I feel that way. I still want to see the Giants make a trade for a receiver at the deadline to pair with Malik Neighbors next year. Next year is the year that I truly feel the Giants got to be thinking about playoffs and further because this is a very talented team. And that's the part that's frustrating. You have a trio of excellent edge rushers and Abdul Carter, Kayvon Thibodeau, and of course Brian Burns, who is leading the NFL in sacks. And if there's anything to feel good about yesterday, well, there's you got to look at the good and the bad. Nick Bonito did not get a sack yesterday, talking that shit about the Giants fan base. But I must admit, I saw a lot of Giant fans celebrating a little too early yesterday, and that's something that I have learned on social media. Just wait till it's triple zeros. So at this juncture of the season and the things that I'm seeing going on, um, I actually think the Dallas Cowboys are going to find a way to win the East. I really mean that. If they can shore up that defense a little bit, getting some healthy bodies, competent bodies back there has also been a help. Jaden Daniels, with his injury history this year, gives me reasons to really doubt that the Commanders are even going to make the playoffs. And they were one of those teams that I suggested would have a fall this year because of how quick their ascension was last year, and also the tougher schedule. The NFC East draws the toughest schedule this year of any division in football. Revisiting Thursday night football, Aaron Rodgers and Joe Flacco, what they did was pretty incredible. Two guys over the age of 40 just balling out. Um, the Bengals get the close victory. Shooter McPherson kicks them to victory. Aaron Rodgers had everybody nervous in Cincinnati, hitting the end zone on that final play of the game, which was a Hail Mary, and that's one of Rodgers' specialties, one of his strengths, as he's hit some big Hail Marys over the years. Um, Steelers are still in a good place. Lamar's going to be making his comeback soon. Burrow's not going to be seen until December. That's why they went and got Flacco. Browns got a nice win yesterday over the Miami Dolphins as Keyshawn Jukins just won off, but they're not going anywhere this year. This is the Pittsburgh Steelers division to lose, and the only way they lose it is if they get injured or if they really go on a downturn. But I like what Cincinnati's doing because it gives them an opportunity to get back into things. Joe Flacco is a very capable quarterback, and he'll be able to get the ball consistently to those two dynamic wideouts in T. Higgins and, of course, Jamar Chase. Um, Los Angeles Rams in London yesterday, the other team in the West that they were expected to win this division coming in. We could talk about Matthew Stafford's 4-touchdown game, and it was impressive. We could talk about Devontae Adams seizing the opportunity and playing the role of a number one in the absence of Puka Nacua, all things to praise. But the Rams defense yesterday was all over Trevor Lawrence, all over the Jaguars running game, all over the Jaguars receivers. Travis Hunter was able to have a decent game, but they were all over them on defense. And a humbling experience for the Jaguars as things were going rather smooth for them. But after 2 weeks playing the NFC West, they get two consecutive losses. They did escape the 49ers earlier in the year, but the Jaguars are keeping the door open in the wild card because I don't think anybody's catching Indy in that division. Indy looks like a team possessed right now. But Jacksonville, at minimum, should be in a position to think about a wild card. But losses like that are going to get them out of there rather quickly. And I think the Bengals, the team I just mentioned, does have the ability to go on a run. Joe Flacco gives them that ability. Game 7, as I predicted, will be going down American League Championship Series, Toronto Blue Jays at home. I've said many times on this show going in, I have mixed feelings about who I want to win this series because I have literally no love for the Seattle Mariners as they ended the career of my favorite Yankee, Don Mattingly, in that epic 5-game series back in 1995. This time, Mattingly is part of the Blue Jays coaching staff. He's second in command. And they're 1 game away from the World Series. Don Mattingly has never experienced a World Series. Don Mattingly will also be going against the team that he used to manage if they get there. I'm just going to watch the game, see what happens. I have plenty of reasons to not be pleased with the Toronto Blue Jays with the way they behaved when they eliminated the Yankees. However, I've always been a fan of Donnie Baseball. He's always been my forever favorite New York Yankee. Of course, Aaron Judge is pushing the envelope to jump him, so to speak. But we'll see. My prediction for Game 7 of the American League Championship Series. I think the Blue Jays come all the way back. I think they win this series. Give me the Toronto Blue Jays 7. Give me the Seattle Mariners 4. I think the Toronto Blue Jays are winning this series because the Toronto Blue Jays are the best team in the American League. It's not that complicated. I said it before, I'll say it again. Whoever was going to win that series between the Yankees and the Blue Jays was going to win the American League. They were the two best teams in the American League. Unfortunately, they both play in the same division, so somebody had to be the wild card. And I'll even go as far as saying that you can make a case that the Boston Red Sox, they might not be the third best team in the American League, but I can make an argument that they might be the fourth best. The American League East, very powerful this year. Very powerful. And I think it's a huge reason why there were no 100-game winners, not just in the American League, but in all of baseball this year. But pertaining to the American League, the East beats the crap out of each other. And it's a credit to the division. So if the Toronto Blue Jays should make the World Series and upset the mighty Dodgers, I wouldn't be that upset because, once again, it's a credit to our division. I know what the Yankees have to fix. I just hope they could do it. NBA just around the corner, very much so looking for that. And in the early going of Rangers hockey, they're floating right around 500 in the early going. But one thing that I am encouraged about is the Rangers often find themselves in one-score games. I can, after last year's disappointment, I can live with that in the early going. There was a lot of turnover on this roster going into the new season, but I do believe that the New York Rangers have the ability to figure this out right now. It's a lot of new faces on this team. You got some proven veterans that have been there, but there was a lot of player movement, and I still think the New York Rangers could be a playoff team and get back to a little bit of what they looked like 2 years ago when they won the President's Trophy. But hockey, very early going. NBA around the corner. We're going to be rolling out an NBA preview in the near future. If you haven't already, please make it a point to like and subscribe to the channel, the Richie Hicks Jr. Sports Podcast on YouTube. Check out the V Mix, the Vicious Mix with our guy, Idris Salam on live365.com. Every Wednesday, check out the Casual Convo Show from 8 to 10, where you can see my guys, Quentin, Mr. Paul, the beautiful Miss Coco. Definitely a great show, so make it a point to check them out. Also, check out our friends at the Sports Corner with Mr. Nast and our buddy, Joe Gallagher. Until next time, I am Richie. Announcements to come for the show. And Giants, get a new kicker this week, please. I have a hard time believing that this dude is better than Young Wei Koo, even if Atlanta did release him. And as I said to Russell Smith yesterday, another devout, diehard Giants fan, I said it to him yesterday. I'd rather have a has been than a never was. I'm out.